It's the Morning Brew with Elle Dawson and Gillian Robertson. Brought to you by Fight Bananas.
Good morning, everybody. Gillian and I switched spots on you today, but yours truly, Elle Dawson, and to my now left, I think, Gillian the Savage Robertson. What's up, guys?
Still don't know whether it's the right or the left, regardless of which side you're on.
How? Because, like, if I'm looking at my screen, you're on my left, but then I guess if everybody's looking at their screen, you'd be on my left. Anyway,
Either way.
it doesn't matter. We're both here.
How are you today?
I'm good. There's lots to talk about. So it was a very interesting evening. I guess so. We gave this pay-per-view a lot of hate. I think primarily because it was a pay-per-view, which it was an $80 pay-per-view. Dyslexic you. It was an $80 pay-per-view instead of a $90 pay-per-view. Was it worth $80? We don't know. Off the top, let's give this UFC 321 weekend just a letter grade, Gillian.
Maybe like, let's say a C plus B minus. It was all right. It wasn't great. Like, they definitely had some moments. There was definitely some fights that were better than the others. But yeah, it wasn't an all around like phenomenal night.
I agree. I would say C plus. I think if this was a fight night, we could rate it a little bit higher. I might even say C, with the main event going how it did. But there obviously were some prelims that did deliver, and there were even some fights that I thought were going to be pretty, that actually were really solid. I didn't expect Umar and Mario Batista to be as competitive as it was, and that ended up being a really, really fun fight to watch. I'm going to be going back and studying that fight a lot. Lots of great things to take away from Mario's performance. Obviously, great things to take away from Umar's performance. Jeff and Chico said failing grade or barely passed. So you're giving it a D. You're saying no, or C minus maybe, Jeff. Yeah, we will definitely get into this. I promise this will be the primary thing that we talk about, but we have to go right off the bat. Obviously the biggest disappointment of the night was this moment from happening with Tom Aspinal, with screenshots from the ESPN's Instagram, just showing the eye poke. We definitely, Gillian has some opinions on this. Obviously the eye poke was real. Like, he got poked in both eyes. We're going to argue a little bit, I think, about which eye maybe was worse, if maybe he didn't want to continue. I will be the first to admit that Tom Aspinall was not looking great here in this first round. I don't think he was like about to get finished, oh my gosh, but he definitely was taking some damage and even was hurt a little bit. And so I do kind of wonder what this rematch looks like. Maybe Tom Aspinall did not take Cyril Gane as seriously as he should have coming into this fight. Abu Dhabi also, like, we see some really great guys come in and just not look good in Abu Dhabi. The travel, the change in heat. It is so hot there. There's a lot of factors that go into these fights in Abu Dhabi. So your thoughts on the first part of the fight that we did get to see in that first round, and then we'll get into the controversy over the eye poke.
On the first part of the fight, I think, like you said, I think Aspinall expected it to be a lot easier. And I think it was kind of trailing down that path of, like, we expected him to do so well against John Jones, and John walked through Cyril Gane, and you're already having issues with him. It just looked like even 30 seconds before the eye poke happened, Laura made a comment where she's like, nobody's ever made Tom bleed like this. Nobody's ever put him in this position, which then leads to I agreed with you 100% last night watching the eye poke. I was like, it was valid. And then I went down the conspiracy theory hole this morning, which I don't know if I 100% agree with or not, but they have some valid points of saying, like, nobody's put Tom in this position before. He's used to, like, finishing his opponents fast. The eye poke was very, like, he was like finger knuckle deep on the left eye. The right eye was the one he was complaining about, though, which didn't seem as egregious. Like, it seemed like his finger was on top of the eyelid more. Maybe it could have scratched. Maybe there was another, I don't know, another reason that one was hurting him more. It didn't look like that one was as bad.
Right.
And the third part where I'm like, this is the part where I'm like, it kind of makes me think maybe it was a way out, was how fast he was to say, I can't see.
Can't see. Every veteran knows that if you tell the commission that you can't see, the fight is over.
And he was saying it from 30 seconds in. He said it a minute in. He said it 2 minutes in. I'm like, you didn't give yourself the full 5 minutes to, okay, let me try to recover, see if I can fight. He just constantly kept on saying, I can't see, I can't see, I can't see. And that's the point where I'm like, maybe it wasn't real. I don't know.
I mean, maybe there was a combination. Maybe he was like, I can't see. I could wait to say I can't see and see if it gets better, or I do have a way out and I can go back, prepare. Doctor walked away because he didn't want to hear Tom say I can't see again. Maybe a combination of both. I will say this, for your second point, the devil's advocate is, even though it looked like the left eye went deeper, his eyelid was completely closed on the left side. Like, you could see it like push his eyelid in and then come out. So maybe, even though that eye probably does hurt, and I'm sure we will see a multitude of eye exams and pictures of Tom Aspinall's eye looking all effed up after this, because there's no way it doesn't after seeing a finger go that deep in an eyeball. But maybe on the right side, since his lid was a little bit more open, maybe like the nail scratched it. Like, because I know when I've had my cornea scratched before, you've had that happen to you too, right?
I guess not that specifically. Never like it's either I've gotten clean poked in the eye or somebody's punched you with a knuckle in the eye. Sometimes that feels like an eye poke. But I guess like getting my cornea scratched or like a scratch to the eye, I've never had specifically. Like, as even just looking at this one, how it touched the right eye. I think it looked bad on the left eye for Aspinall, but how it touched the right eye, I have trouble seeing on like how it would hurt him.
So I got my cornea scratched from a thumb once, and it didn't hurt as bad as I just like literally could not open my eye. Like, I physically couldn't, like, it was just water, ow, like the light hurt, everything. Like, I just physically couldn't make myself open my eyelids. So I guess that would be my argument for the second point, that, the other side looked worse, is maybe that side scratched. Eyes are weird. I definitely think, regardless of how hurt Tom was, it was like the third time Ciryl Gane put his whole freaking palm in Tom Aspinall's face and then pushed away. So, in my opinion, Ciryl Gane deserved to be DQ'd regardless of how bad the eye poke was. I have never poked anybody in the eye in 16 fights. You have never poked anybody in the eye in, almost 30 fights. Grant's never poked anybody in the eye. Like, I just don't think you can't be doing that, especially in a world title. Like, I agree with you here, Jake. Like, remember,
I saw a breakdown from Jim Miller about it. I don't know if it was an old one or a new one, talking about the eye pokes and the gloves. And he's like, whenever your hands are open, it's because you're trying to push away and you're being a bitch, not trying to engage in fights, and you should be penalized for that. And I'm like, fair enough. I agree with that.
I definitely, the way Gane was throwing that hand out there, I just, and I was super pissed at Gane at the end, because you can't do that like 3 times, then like claw somebody's eyeballs and then be mad the fight's over and walk away from the state commission and the ref when they're trying to talk to you. Like, if I didn't like Gane before this fight, I still don't like him even more. But I did see Gillian sent a very hilarious tweet to us last night that said, man, if Tom Aspinall can't handle Ciryl Gane's eye pokes, he's definitely not going to be able to handle Jones. So, but yeah, I definitely go back. We'll talk about the fouls earlier in the night, which super happy to see the way they were handled. I don't care if it's a minute or if it's 1 round into the fight. Like, the length of the fight should not dictate how you treat a foul. And I think a foul like that, you should have a loss on your record. You shouldn't get to have a no contest.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm like you said, it was too blatantly like the signs were leading that direction, you know? You saw him post on his face 2 or 3 times before it actually happened. Like, it was too egregious. It was going to happen again in the fight if the fight did continue, you know?
Yeah. And honestly, I think even if there isn't, maybe this is how we deal with this, even if there isn't an eye poke yet, but you are palming the face like that, maybe that's when you take the point. I promise they won't do it again.
And I don't know if you've noticed this too on John Jones's profile picture. He's now added a eye patch onto it.
That's actually kind of funny.
So yeah. I also saw Poatan tweeting something about like making the heavyweight division great and having Bones versus Poatan. So I'm like, he's obviously interested in that matchup. I'm not interested in seeing Aspinal Gane again, really. I'm like, I don't know. The way it was going, I'm like, all right, this fight's going to be a decision. I don't know. I just see I don't know. I wasn't interested in it.
I wasn't even interested in it at the beginning because Dave and I talked about this on Tuesday. It's a lose-lose situation. Either Tom Aspinall smokes Gane like we expected him to, and we probably still don't get Jones Aspinall, or Cyril Gane wins, completely devalues Aspinall. We have the world's most boring champ for heavyweight, and on top of that we no longer have any questions whatsoever about what happens between Aspinall and Jones. Like, at the very least, if Aspinall smoked Gane last night, we would still be like, oh, he might have been able to beat Jones. And that just gives like a little more excitement to his name. But if he has a fight with Gane,
I feel like even what we saw last night, though, it wasn't like instantly I compared it to John Jones of like, oh, John walked right through Gane. I'm like, he's making Tom bleed in the first round. And like, it already doesn't look good. It already makes me I'm like, I don't really care about that fight anymore. It's like the entertainment of the heavyweight division was kind of like still killed regardless, I think.
I don't disagree with you. I will say this is hilarious because we 100% said this. Like, this was what Dave, you and I were all talking about on Tuesday. We jinxed the universe. But I think the question here is like, or the caveat here is Tom Aspinall could potentially, they rebook this fight. Let's say Tom Aspinall, maybe it was Abu Dhabi, maybe it was the heat, maybe he was sick, maybe he just didn't take Cyril Gane this seriously, and this time he does, and then he's super prepared and he smashes him. I honestly would be fine with that. I'd be like, okay, like, this was what we were supposed to see. Everybody's allowed to have a bad night, right? If they rebook this and it's a 5-round fight, yikes. Like,
no, 100%. It's like, it's almost like when Juliana Pena beat Amanda, she was able to, like, Amanda had a bad night. She wasn't there. Then when she came back the next time, she absolutely walked through Juliana over and over and over again, putting her in terrible positions the whole fight. It's like, we need to see something like that. We need to see a finish. We need to see something impressive from Tom next. Or I'm like, the heavyweight division as a whole right now isn't looking so good. All we got is our Walter Walker, Hey,
and Vitor Petrino. He's putting guys away. No, I'm with you. Like, oh my gosh, we'll get into Volkov and Almeida. Like, very interesting scoring. But yeah, like this holds up the whole division. Not that we were super excited to see Volkov or Almeida fight for the title either, but like, it does hold up the division. I don't disagree with you, Scott. There was a comment that I thought I needed to pull up. Somebody said something about Laura. Dude, Laura had some killer one-liners yesterday. Rumbetsky fighting. She's like, he's just walking through traffic to get to his destination. I was like, that is exactly what he does.
Laura is probably one of my favorite commentators right now. I think she does a phenomenal job, and she's one of the more well-educated ones, where I'm like, especially when it comes to the ground, none of the guys know jiu-jitsu. Like, none of the guys, like, if you look at like DC's a wrestler, like you look at Paul Felder, striker, Dominic Cruz, a striker. A lot of the guys, Michael Bisping, not necessarily known as a jiu-jitsu guy either, where I'm like, Laura's the one who's able to break down the ground game and really give technical points where I feel like even the pro fighters can't. So I'm like, I really enjoy hearing her on the desk every single time.
Yeah, no, she crushes it, and she was super funny. She was very quick-witted yesterday. But yeah, I think she does a phenomenal job, and I don't think a lot of people know that she actually, like, she had a, albeit short, but pretty solid MMA career herself, like, and then just fell in love with analysis work. Like 1-0 as a pro, and then got pregnant with her son and decided to get into analysis. But DC is a black belt but can't identify a ninja choke. In DC's defense, how often do we see that happen at heavyweight? I've rolled with Laura. She's still really freaking good. She is, and she's sharp and bony and got long, gangly arms. She's a solid grappler. But sorry, I diverted us from talking about that. But I think I don't expect this to get rebooked quickly. People are talking about it happening on MSG. So let's take all the factors into account. If we're riding on the conspiracy theory, and I might be a little bit, a scratch cornea actually does take time to heal. So if his eye is really bad, which I do expect it to be, it's going to take time to heal. And then Tom is going to be like, I was not prepared. Maybe let's push it a few months so I can be prepared. And so I don't expect this to be a quick turnaround. I think we will not see them fight again until maybe spring of next year.
Which poor Tom, man, been waiting for a fight for like 2 years, gets an opportunity. This is what happened. You're out again. I'm like, oh, what a rough path.
And sometimes that's almost worse, like to be like, I'm in camp, I'm not in camp. I'm in camp, I'm not in camp. So maybe that factored into him not looking so hot in that first round. And also, like, I don't want to discount him and be like, oh, he would have lost that fight. He very well may have come back and, just needed to wake up a little bit. You could see it in some of the other fights as well. Did turn around. I think Quillen Selkilde expected to get Nasrat down. And when he couldn't, he looked bad. Like, really bad. Didn't matter because that kid has absolute dynamite in his kicks and his hands. But, like, I think everybody watching that fight was like, oh, this is done. Like, there's no way Quillen is winning this fight. And he obviously proved us wrong and came back. But good.
I actually completely spaced just as I was about to talk. So go ahead.
And we'll get into those fights later. I definitely want to give Gillian her moment to talk about Mackenzie Dern, who is currently holding Gillian's belt. As somebody said it in the comments, Gillian beats the whole strawweight division. This fight was actually a lot more fun than I expected it to be for the average fan. And you said it perfectly to me yesterday. You were like, I think Mackenzie won, but Verna looked better. And I like Laura was talking about how Mackenzie in her like meeting with the analysis team was like, girls don't always know how to deal with a messy fight. And I actually think that's a great mentality to have as a female fighter because it's true. I think you see a lot of really technical female fighters lose to grittier, tougher girls who can make the fight dirty. And she did that. Like, she never stopped throwing. She was in ridiculous shape. And Verna clearly had the superior wrestling, which is what I expected. I didn't expect her to be afraid to go to the ground with Mackenzie. I didn't think Mackenzie was going to pull off an armbar off the bottom. And I think Mackenzie maybe knew that. And so she didn't really try to spend a lot of time on her back, which I did not expect from Mackenzie. I thought she would try to maybe play a little more jiu-jitsu off her back. She was really quick to create space, do damage, up kicks, like just making it uncomfortable for Verna to stay on top of her. And I think she fought a really smart fight.
Well, I think Verna was also playing at a very weird distance where she wasn't like backing away from Mackenzie completely, but she also wasn't like fully engaging in her guard. She was kind of like, I guess it was almost like a jiu-jitsu match where she was kind of sitting back a little bit more in her guard. So it doesn't allow Mackenzie to really like start utilizing her hips and get under her and go for her arm bars, things like that. And then, so that's why I think we did see a lot more striking from Mackenzie, because Virna was sitting back so much versus like really forward in Mackenzie's guard as much. And I think that was with Virna being a little bit like tentative to be in Mackenzie's guard, just knowing that like the dangers that are there. Yeah. So I think Virna played a little bit safer game, and Mackenzie was able to like figure out ways to still attack from there. But I'm like I said, I'm like, what really did Mackenzie do that was good? You know, like she was aggressive, she was attacking, but I'm like, it didn't look good.
No, it was simply volume. I do think she landed some nice strikes on the feet. She had that really nice, like crisp jab. You saw her to kind of like sit down a little bit with it. But it was purely a well thought out game plan with a lot of volume and a lot of grit and having good cardio. So I definitely like just watching this fight. How are you feeling about the year coming up, and just your overall thoughts on how this division is going to play out in the next 6-8 months?
Well, I've never been so excited watching a fight. I feel like, honestly, I match up watching both of them. I match up ideally against both the girls. During the fight, I wasn't sure which way it was going to go. It was very back, like, I think Mackenzie had the first, Virna had the second. Mackenzie, like, it was back and forth. So I'm like, I was like, which matchup will I be looking at next? I did agree with the decision. I did think that Mackenzie won. It was either 3-2 or 4-1, depending on what judge is scoring it. But yeah, I think that, like you said, Mackenzie just tries to make things ugly. But at the end of the day, I think that's where I capitalize. I'm good at finding my holes. I'm good at just I'm good at being faster here, not faster physically, but I'm good at making quicker decisions. So I feel like Mackenzie does a lot, leaves herself in bad positions a lot, and that's just perfect for me. Neither one of those girls had any kind of defense on the feet. They were all offense going at each other. And I said, she has a lot of holes. And I think that it's my time in 2026.
Let's go. No, I agree. I definitely disagree here, Izzy, that Tatiana should get the next title shot.
Did we watch her last fight?
Lemos is a tough girl. Like, that's a good win, but I just feel like, especially compared to how you're finishing people, how you're dominating people, the damage that you're doing, I was pretty unimpressed with Tatiana's last outing. I expected her to pull the trigger a little bit more, especially when she gets on top.
And I'll even say it for myself. I'm like, if I go out there in December and I don't perform, I don't deserve it. You know, I have to go out there and put on a performance that is worthy of a title shot. I have to go show that I deserve this title shot in December and be able to finish Lucindo, show why, like, I am the next challenger. It's just the obvious pick, you know. I got to make myself undeniable.
Yeah, and we will talk about Gillian making herself undeniable here in just a second. But I think John Anik said it best as Mackenzie, Dern, and Vina were walking to the cage. He was like, this division seems so open to these girls now that Weili Zhang is gone. And it does. It feels like it could be anybody's shot, you know? I think obviously there's only a few people that are on really solid win streaks right now. But I feel like it's got to be exciting for everybody that's in the top 10 right now to feel like it's just there's an opportunity for a lot of these girls to have title shots in the next like 2 years, especially should Weili beat Valentina Shevchenko and decide to stay at flyweight and defend that belt. That keeps the division very open to continue moving and just churning out fights and title and number one contenders. So I definitely feel like you have that opportunity to, you know, do something really devastating in December, and then hopefully we'll see G fighting for a belt pretty soon. Gillian, I don't know if you guys saw her story, but she said she was not super impressed with Mackenzie and Virna over the weekend, and shared it. And you got a little reply from Dana White.
Yeah, I was just letting them know that, you know, like I said, I'm going to make myself undeniable in December. I am the next title challenger, and it was nothing great to watch. Nothing pisses me off more than whenever people always comment on fights. Like, it's on everything on the internet. They're like, oh, time for a bathroom break whenever a woman's fight comes up. And I'm like, my goal is to break that stigma. Mackenzie's isn't. We need to make these fights fun. We need to make them entertaining. And I feel like I'm the only one who's going to be able to do that next year.
Love it. This would be sick. Would you want to fight Mackenzie on the White House card?
I mean, I would. I don't see them doing it. And it's a Brazilian versus a Canadian. I guess we're both like, she's not really Brazilian. I've grown up in Florida. I guess I'm not really Canadian. We're both like claiming these heritages. I guess both grew up in America, but we're still. I don't see them putting that on the White House card.
See, you just need to go full blown Moicano and like go like full Patriot mode, because I could see them putting like a Brazilian like Moicano on the White House card. You just need to make that your become female Sean Strickland for like the next 6 months. And I feel like you got that. Yeah, Trump likes winners. Trump doesn't care where you're from. He likes winners.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
But we talked about the strawweights. We definitely, I know the whole comment section agrees. We're going to see Gillian with a world title wrapped around her waist in 2026. But we got a lot more to get into with this card. I feel like this fight delivered more than I thought it would. I expected there to be a lot more time on the ground of Umar just controlling Mario Batista, but Mario's scrambles were really elite. And his boxing looked really good too. The only thing I really want to nitpick at Mario Batista is I felt like he could have done a lot better if he wasn't maybe extending over, because he overextended on a lot of his strikes. And I think that opened up the wrestling for Umar to be able to start those positions. Because even though Mario was scrambling, Umar still chewed up a lot of clock time, controlling, riding, being on top. And that I do think that won him the fight, because Mario had that beautiful knee right at the beginning of the second round. I was like, oh my gosh, he's going to finish him. Like, we're going to get another Quillen versus Nasrat moment. But I did feel like he was overextending and maybe like stepping through a little bit too much. Like he would just launch this huge cross and step all the way through to the opposite stance. And I think that just, if Umar knows all those punches are going to come at that like full force forward, like he's just going to fit in underneath those strikes. That's kind of what I saw from Mario that I would have liked to see him tweak a little bit. But he looked really good. For me, even with this loss, his stop goes up.
Oh yeah, kind of like we said with the Mackenzie and Verna fight, I think Mario looked better. I think that Umar played his game. He did what we expected him to, wrestle, and heavy top pressure. But I also don't think he did a lot with that top pressure. He wasn't really able to get off a lot of strikes, really hunt a lot of submissions. He was just kind of controlling the fight more than anything else, but was pushing an insane pace. So it's like constantly just and that pace was also thanks to Mario getting back up, creating the space, giving like constantly just getting back up with using, my coach always says, the 4 S's on the ground. So strike, sweep, submit, stand up. You should be looking to do all 4 of those things at all times if you're on your back. And that's exactly the game that Mario was playing, constantly creating space by either like looking for submission, strikes, getting up. And it was just Umar just playing the wrestling game that's so hard to deal with. But I became a bigger fight of Mario Batista watching that fight.
No, 100%. Me too. He really did impress me, because going into this fight, I was like, should the number 2 ranked guy really be fighting the number 9 ranked guy in such a deep division? Like we're skipping over, Song Yadong getting that fight and people like that. But I felt like Mario really proved his worth, and I honestly wouldn't even be upset if they ranked him a little higher off a loss. I know that's not typically what happens, but I definitely wouldn't be upset about that. I really would like to see him maybe fight somebody in that 4 to 7 range next, like a Song Yadong. Because I think Mario can win there. I really do. And then maybe get that opportunity for that next step up again. Because I definitely think there's guys in the top 5 that Mario Batista can beat. He's not banished to the top 10 for all eternity. Like he definitely is in that mix. I will say this with Umar, if we compare to how Umar looked on top to how Jailton Almeida looked on top, at the very least, he is like control, big strike, control, drop a hammer fist, control, touch a little short elbow. There was always something. There was always some activity. There was never a point where I was like, wow, Umar's on top, but I'm not sure he's winning this round.
I agree, but for me, I'm like, I feel like the activity came from Mario. It's like if Volkov was more active on the bottom and gave Almeida more issues of getting back up, then I think like we might have seen a more well, I don't think we would have seen a more active Almeida. He looked pretty gassed, but he might have appeared more active because he had to constantly push for the takedown to get to secure position, where Batista was working so much from bottom that it made Umar have to move and have to work and have to do these things where it seemed I felt like he was pretty content just taking him down and holding, which also brings me to like earlier in the week, Dana at the press conference was talking about, he's like, you guys need to put on a performance to show that you guys deserve a title shot. Did that deserve a title shot for Umar?
I don't know. And honestly, like Merab versus Yan 1 was awesome. I can't imagine the second fight not being awesome. Like it's and I got to be honest, like Merab versus Umar the first time was a great fight too. Like Umar maybe is, somebody said something interesting. It was Jake. Umar and Usman are both great technical fighters. Do they lack the power to be great? Jeff said Merab lacks power. I think that's a very good point. But Merab definitely has an X factor, which is his efficiency and his pace. So I do wonder if like, does Umar lack maybe the ability to break the high level guys? Like he can beat them, but it's close. Like he beat Corey Sandhagen 100%, but did he break Corey Sandhagen? You know, there is kind of that question. And if you don't have the ability to break somebody either with your power or your pace or with a sub, that does take away a lot of your danger, right?
Well, that can come into play with essentially what I'm saying, where I feel like he was trying to hold more than anything else. Where I'm like, I always say that's the beauty of Merab, is he doesn't try to hold on to anything. He just lets things go. So he makes you work. He makes you push a pace, where Umar is trying to keep it almost at like his pace, a slower pace, keep you there, keep you in the business that he wants, where Merab is letting you go, letting you do what you want, because he knows he's going to take you down again and again and again and again and again until you don't want to be there. So I don't think it's something that Umar can't do. It just takes a little bit more confidence and a little bit like you got to be willing to let go of these situations sometimes, just so you can like put them through the washing machine, put them through the ringer, make them do it again and again and again. So then they feel like you watch a Merab fight and that's how it looks.
No, 100%. Merab, Fluffy Hernandez, all the same, that same just rinse, repeat pace. It's exhausting to watch, and it's absolutely exhausting to experience. Honestly, this fight makes sense for me. They both fought recently, so they'll be ready around the same time. Personally, I think this is a great matchup for Batista. I think he's a little bit cleaner, but Zahabi is he does what Mackenzie Dern did. You know, he can make a fight messy. He can make it dirty. It's not always pretty and clean, but the volume and the output is high, and he makes you not want to just stand in there with him, you know?
Oh yeah, that's what I love about Zahabi, isn't like he's there for a dirty fight. He's there to make it a fight. And that's what like we've seen in his last couple matchups, they just can't keep that kind of pace, that kind of grittiness to it. And he never looks clean, but I'm like, I'm so here for this title run we got for Zahabi at 37.
Let's go. I honestly did not know how old he was until he fought Chito Vera, and I was like, huh, okay, all right. Like, let's go. I would be totally cool with that matchup next. I agree. I think this is the fight to do. Personally, I wouldn't mind seeing Figueiredo get a title shot at 135. I really like the idea of seeing him fight Merab. This makes sense. Make this the title eliminator. And also, like, that way, Umar's not getting another title shot off beating the number 9 ranked guy. As good as Mario Batista is, you beat Figueiredo, like, that's a pretty undeniable, okay, you deserve the next title shot. Personally, plus, give Merab a break. Dude's defended his belt, like, he will have defended his belt 4 times at the end of this year. If he beat against the absolute best guys in the division. Like
in probably the most stacked division in the UFC currently, like talent-wise. I don't
170. I think 170 has it beat by a smidge right now, just because of how young they are.
Yeah, like 135 though is like the division's thick. Like the top 10, top 15 of those guys, like you said, Batista's ranked 9. Like he's not a scrub, you know, he's ranked high, like pretty low there for like the division's pretty thick. The division's got a lot of talent in it.
No, I 100% agree. And like, yeah, I know Merab doesn't take breaks because he's a psychopath, but we also don't want to get you don't want to end up with like a Pereira situation where I think he didn't take enough time off. He was doing too much traveling, too many back-to-backs, too many short notice fights, you know. I think Merab has become such a star. I think the UFC should almost make him take a break after this fight and give him 6 months, you know. And then if there's an American contender too, like I don't think there will be. I think it's probably going to be Umar or Figgy. But if something crazy happens in the division, you have an American contender. Throw him on the White House card. You know,
technically Merab's an American now too.
Honestly, he's pretty Americanized.
He just got his citizenship recently, and I saw on I think it was the weigh-in show. DC was talking about it, and he was like, "Oh, he's not American. He is not American." And then the second Rob walks out, DC's like, "USA, USA."
That's hilarious. Yeah. No, I wants to go for 5 title defenses next year. That's insane. Off topic, would you guys consider Carlos Yulberg handsome? I mean, yeah, he's a decent look. He's a good-looking guy.
Yeah, I can see where people come from.
Hype, personally, but like he's a good-looking guy. Yeah. Duke was curious. All right. Ulberg, whatever. It looks like it should be a German name to me. It doesn't look Australian or Kiwi. Trump should nationalize Merab and Pereira as American citizens for the White House card. That would be so freaking awesome. Like that's what America is. Like that would be sick. That actually would be awesome. I would be totally down for Merab to like have his like first fight as I guess it wouldn't be his first fight. This one will be his first, but still, it'd be dope. Anyway, we got to talk about this fight. Let's be clear here. Volkov versus Almeida. This was the wrong decision, but I also watching the fight, I'm like Almeida just doesn't deserve to win this fight. Like I'm not even mad that the wrong decision happened because like Almeida has a cheat code. He has a cheat code for heavyweight. His shot is phenomenal. No one has a shot like that at heavyweight. Like maybe Jones. Like and so to have and even when he was exhausted, he took really good shots. You have that ability, you've got to be able to use it. Like you can take guys down whenever you want. And he did. He had control. I did think he won the fight, even though I wanted to see more activity from him. I still think Volkov. I'll play devil's advocate when we get into it, but I did think it was the wrong decision. Like initial reaction, I think you probably agree.
Oh yeah, no, I 100% like initially was shocked by the decision. I don't think that Volkov did enough off of his back to like say that he won the fight either. I think Almeida controlled the majority of the fight and not a lot happened from either side. Like you said, as somebody who takes such like beautiful takedowns, gets in deep, makes them effortless, why don't you take more risks when you're on the ground? Why does it matter if he gets back up if you can take him right back down? So let's take the risks to go for the strikes, go for the submissions, open up and create more opportunity for yourself. Because I'm like, like you said, you don't deserve to win a fight just controlling on top, just wrestling somebody and sitting there and doing nothing the whole time.
Yeah. And to be honest as well, like this is my assessment of Almeida. Almeida has the physical attributes and the skill to beat everyone in the heavyweight division. What he lacks is the mentality. Like
that's what I
know what that mentality.
That's what I think is the most beautiful thing about Merab is it's just he's confident. That's all it is he has the confidence that it doesn't matter what you do. He's going to be able to run you through his game. So it's like, if you get back to the feet, he's good. If you get to the ground, he's good. If you're wrestling him, he's good. He doesn't matter. He's just so confident in it. And it's like a game like Almeida's just looks like it's a lack of confidence.
Yeah. No, 100%. And I don't know if he's so afraid maybe of getting tired, because he definitely looked exhausted, and he shouldn't have. Not enough in that. There was not enough happening in that fight. Like Umar deserved to be out of breath on the mic. That fight was super fast paced. So impressed with those guys. I was tired just watching them. I don't know how you can be afraid of getting tired when your output is so, or how you can get tired when your output is so low.
When your output's low and it's not even like you're defending a lot either.
Yeah.
It's not like Volkov was doing a lot on the bottom either.
Like, you could argue that Volkov technically had more submission attempts than Almeida did, but nothing was like deep or putting Almeida in any real danger. I will say, so my argument for how you could give the third round to Volkov is just the first, like, what was it, minute and a half? That was the most damaging part of the fight. Volkov in the clinch, on the cage, and kneeing the crap out of Almeida. I mean, I guess you could argue that nothing really happened after that. I do think the control should have won Almeida the fight, but if I'm making an argument for why you give that round to Volkov, it's that first, like, that, just that exchange on the feet. And he did stuff the first couple shots, and they looked pretty bad, but yeah, it was a great fight. Disappointed. I don't want to see either of these guys fight for a title.
Going back to what I said earlier, I'm like, we just need Walter Walker. Would have finished both these guys.
So what you do right now is you just do him and Almeida. I'm serious. Like, the heavyweight division lacks depth so much. This is fair, Jeff. Like, you don't want to encourage this type of performance. So I guess that's fair. If you're the UFC, like, you're probably happy he did not win that fight, but make this happen right now. Do Walter Walker and Almeida. There's not enough, even though there's a big gap in rankings, there's not enough depth in the division that Walter shouldn't be able to jump over a bunch of people. Almeida's coming off a loss. He needs to fight down anyway. You're kind of Almeida should view it as being thrown a bone, because he's fighting somebody that he has way more UFC experience than, but is really dangerous, and is a very dangerous matchup for him specifically, because I think Walter is athletic and technical enough on the ground to compete with Almeida there. So it's a good fight, and it's a win-win for the UFC. You either get Almeida back into the conversation, because he's going to be there anyway, or Walker heel hooks Almeida on the first takedown, and you have a superstar that you can push straight into a title shot.
And I think Walter, like, with Almeida, that's a good matchup for him. A good a jiu-jitsu person. We get to see him again to see if he's able to pull off this kind of like double leg heel hook in less than 5 minutes again against a good jiu-jitsu guy. So I feel like it would be a good stepping stone for him, a good testing mark to see how good he really is. But to get those 4 heel hooks in a row, literally effortlessly, I'm like, there is no better cheat code to heavyweight. Like you said, Almeida with a good takedown, add the heel hook onto that. I'm like, that's Walter Walker. And it's just literally like, why are heavyweights so bad at grappling?
It's a cheat code. Like, and this is an interesting question from Jake. I'll get to that in a second. But like, it really is a cheat code. The lack of takedown defense from Volkov, and I don't want to take anything away from Almeida's shot, because he really does have a flawless shot. It's beautiful. But like, there's no defense from Volkov. It was just like, whoop. And then you just saw it in the third round when Almeida was desperate and tired and wasn't even throwing a punch before he was trying to shoot. But and you saw it from Walter's opponent too. Walter has a great shot. It's a cheat code.
All right, and even with his heel hook, I'm like, the opponents just seem to roll and not really know how to chain together any leg lock defense. I'm like, you would expect these guys to maybe like delve into that a little bit for a couple months, being like, all right, this dude has 3 heel hook submissions before he's fighting me tonight. Let me figure out how to defend these in every way possible and be ready for the moment.
Here's the problem. I don't think 8 weeks is long enough to undo an entire career of not wrestling, which is what the majority of heavyweights do.
I'm just like the heel hook defense though. I'm like, don't like I understand him getting taken down, whatever. I'm like, just be able to defend. You know the submission that's coming. You know what he does every single time. Like we've got the game plan written out for you. Let's just learn how to defend these heel hooks. Let's learn how not to get finished.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And maybe they are. It's still a pretty big time gap, you know. Like Walter clearly has been doing this specifically for many, many, many years, and just perfecting it. You know, like it's like think of like the best jiu-jitsu player you've ever rolled with. It's almost like you know what they're gonna do to you, and they can do it anyway. Like that's how it felt when I rolled with Gillian, guys. Like I think that's just such a huge gap, and like it's hard if you're not a heavyweight that has like a lot of athleticism. It's probably really hard to learn how to grapple in those exchanges.
Well, I think also just generally speaking, heavyweights probably, like you said, they don't learn this stuff because they don't feel the need to. Because when you're 110 pounds learning jujitsu and you try to explode out of a situation or try to push somebody off, nothing really happens. But these dudes are like 250 plus, whatever. When they're exploding out of these situations, it works very well for them. So it's like, why do they ever need to learn technique when they can just stand up like Derek Lewis? So I'm like, I think that it's just like how the heavyweight division has kind of evolved. But I think that obviously someone like Walter Walker, it's like, it's that simple. If you do get good at something, like this is such an easy route now because everybody's just neglected this so much.
Yeah, and I do think like somebody mentioned earlier this. Oh yeah, it was SG. Generally, heel hooks don't work in any other division because it's such a dangerous position to put yourself in. But I think there's also like a pretty big disconnect for like a heavyweight to do a really fast technical stand up to get on top of you and start throwing hammer fists. Like once they're down, they're usually down for a while.
I feel like Walter's very good at off balancing his opponents too, and making sure that he's never in a position to get punched while he is attacking those. So I'm like, I have absolutely nothing to take away from his technique. I think he's phenomenal. I'm just like, shame on the rest of the heavyweight division for not even investing a little bit into jiu-jitsu technique. Because I'm like, even for me, I don't really know leg locks. I don't mess with them that much. It's not my game. I know basic enough of how to defend leg locks. I know if I get my knee out, I know if I separate their legs, like there's things that I'm looking for specifically when I get in a leg lock, where if somebody's like, if I'm working with like, I don't know, like Helena, the 18-year-old girl who's Gordon Ryan's girl, I'm like, she's going after leg locks like constantly. If I'm going with her, she's probably going to be able to catch me because I only have basic defense for leg locks. But Walter isn't like transitioning from like heel hook to heel hook, from submission to submission. He's usually just sticking on one heel hook, keeping it pretty basic, like where you don't need this like huge type of defense and knowing where to go. You just kind of need to know the concept. So I'm like, come on, heavyweight division.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I'm interested to see. That's why Almeida and Walter Walker, guys, just do it right now. Let's see if somebody can defend that has jiu-jitsu experience and also the build. Like, I think that's important too. Like, the reason Almeida and Walter Walker can grapple so well, I think, is their build too. Like, one of the reasons Derek Lewis's getup works on everybody except Jailton Almeida is because nobody has long enough legs to throw hooks in on Derek Lewis's bowling ball body except Jailton Almeida. But I really want to address this question from Jake Nichols because I think this is a really good question. How is a good shot scored compared to a takedown? So I think it's interesting because if I take a really good shot and I get you down, obviously I score. But let's say I take a really, really good shot and you defend. You get like, you hit Max Holloway style, hips down, like super strong, defend really clean, strike off of it. I think that scored really well for the other guy. So if you take a good shot that gets stuffed, it's almost more detrimental. It'd be more detrimental to your scoring than for you to take a bad shot and get a takedown almost.
Earlier in the night, we had a great fight all around, but Klein and Ribeski. I'm like, I felt like Klein, like you just said, was doing that to Ribeski on the takedowns. there was once he got taken down and then flipped his hips and was able to get up and was just beautiful and flawless, and 100%. I was like, wow, that looked really good for Klein there.
Yeah. No, and I want to give him his flowers. I love Rembetsky. Super awesome, super likable guy. Klein was so prepared, and he fought him perfectly. And Rembetsky is a hard man to put away, as he showed. Like, he came back, won that third round, won 10-8 on a couple on a judge's scorecard, you know. So yeah, it's what a fight.
Oh, yeah.
Fight of the night. To be honest, I kind of thought Wood and Delgado were in that running as well. That was a freaking amazing fight. But yeah, Rembetsky had one where he was super deep in the hips. And Klein just, it looked like he was floating. He was like, no, you can't put me down. Like the leg split, everything was just beautiful.
Yeah, like you said, the first 2 rounds, he looked absolutely phenomenal. Just dancing on the outside the whole time and making like a bowling ball like Rembetsky just coming at you, hard to find, you know? Where I'm like, Rembetsky just comes forward, so much aggression, wide shots, where Klein was just kind of dancing out of the way, just kind of moving on the outside, picking his shots. When Rembetsky would come in, he'd angle really quick. It was beautiful footwork on the feet, very prepared for the takedowns, till he did finally get taken down in the third, and like, you can't stop Rembetsky. I'm like, he got hit with some clean head kicks in like the second. I remember there was one time he got hit with a 4-punch combination, finished with that head kick, and dude just keeps walking forward and then technically wins the end of the fight. So I'm like,
dominates the end of the fight.
Yeah. So I'm like, absolutely, like, just beautiful performance from both guys. I don't know who got the fight of the night last night. I wouldn't be surprised if it is that one at all.
It was them.
Yeah. Like you said, the Delgado versus Wood fight, another phenomenal fight. I didn't agree with the decision on that one.
I did score the fight for Delgado as well. I have not watched it back. It was really close. It was interesting to see, because Wood engaged a lot more in the grappling. It was very interesting to see how like the grappling was scored earlier in the night versus later. Obviously, he also was like going for subs. Both guys were doing a ton of damage. Both guys almost got finished. Like, that was a banger of a fight. I did think there was some value on Wood as the underdog. I was beyond impressed with Jose Delgado. He's so young. He's only a couple of UFC fights at this point. His sharpness on the feet, and also we've never seen him in a third round ever. And I don't think he's been out of the first in a while. And so to see his composure as such a young fighter that doesn't usually go the distance, I was really impressed with Jose Delgado.
Oh yeah, coming away from this fight again, I feel like it's a lot of the fights. The loser really impressed me. Like Delgado really impressed me last night. He was putting combinations together very well. His right hand is an absolute laser beam, like straight down the pipe. The way he throws that, it's clean. And he finishes up a lot of his combinations with that knee. He was finding a lot of success with it earlier on in the fight. So I'm like, there's a lot of good things that he does. You said he's so young too. I'm like, I definitely thought he had enough activity to win the fight. I think I want to say I gave him first and third and gave Wood the second. But I'm not really sure about that decision on that one.
Yeah, Jake said those are my guys, and didn't think that Wood should have gotten the decision. But this is a great point too. Like, this is a vet move, by the way. Like, Klein's ankle was totally effed. Like, he's going to be out for a while. He made sure that nobody knew about his ankle. Nobody. Not the ref, not Rembetsky, not even his own corner. He wasn't like calling to them like, I can't do what you're telling me because I'm hurt. Because yeah, if Rembetsky had decided to stand up, Klein wouldn't have been able to, most likely. Like, he would have been down. The fight would have been over. And honestly, if Rembetsky hadn't gotten cut also from bottom, that beautiful little sharp up elbow that Klein threw off his back sliced Rembetsky over. That dude must have so much scar tissue in his face at this point. I don't think I've ever seen a Rembetsky fight where the canvas isn't absolutely just washed in blood. But he has a pretty killer head arm choke. If he wasn't so damn slippery from the blood, he actually might have been able to land a little bit more and maybe set that up. But the blood, Klein's just absolute toughness and veteranness. Like, yeah, he lasted and got the win.
No, that elbow from bottom, like you said, caught him clean from his guard, and then just Vrembeski started dripping onto him, and then went to work right after that. Just started going in. But that was such a nice little. I feel like enough people don't think about situations like that where you can strike for the bottom. There is. Nico Price has done it twice, and Kevin Hall has done it once, where they've knocked people out from being on their back. I'm like, it is a possibility, and you can do a lot of damage from there, and we were able to see it in that fight.
Yeah, and like this is why, yeah, nobody's ever gonna not love Mateusz Vrembeski. Like, how could you not? How could you not love him? Like he's must see TV every time. We have not been through like most of this card. There were a few fights. I felt like there were some pretty solid comebacks. Obviously, they weren't very long fights. I was watching, like I said earlier, I was watching Nasrat fight. I thought he looked so good. I was like, yeah, this was way too much too soon for Quellen Salkilde. Way too much too soon. To be honest, kind of felt the same way about Azamat Murzakanov early in his fight. I thought Rakic was looking really good, personally. And then I know he wasn't landing a ton, but he just looked a little bit cleaner.
I agree. I think Rat just looked cleaner, but Azamat the way he keeps his little bounce on the outside, he looks so fast. He's just always on his toes, always able to explode. And obviously we were able to see that. It was literally a jab he was able to drop him with. It was just like a really good, stiff, hard jab, but he's just so explosive off of his feet there. And like, both, like you said, Killen, I had him losing. I was like, the first minute of the fight, I was like, oh, this is going to be a rough night for him. And I think a little bit more of a rougher night for Nasrat, I will say.
Scary knockout. Like, and through the guard. Like, you saw in the replay, too, like, Nasrat had this hand up. I don't think he quite got his second hand up, but usually, like, this is enough, typically, through the hand, attack the head, like, what a kick. And it wasn't like Nasrat was like leaning into it either. That was just pure power from Quellen.
No, I feel like just with MMA gloves, I think sometimes one hand isn't enough. I'm like, I always try that's what I always tell myself. Whenever I'm catching kicks, I'm like, one hand is not enough. You have to catch them with two hands always, because like if you're doing kickboxing, Muay Thai or something, you have this huge glove on. One hand's enough to catch that kick. When I have this little tiny glove on, I always try to catch with two hands. And like you could see Nasrat just miss the kick. He tried to catch with his second hand and just like timed it a little bit off, missed it. And it was brutal. You could see Quellen, I want to say, he was saying like, I can't remember exactly, but he was mumbling under his breath, like, please wake up or something like, please, 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 whenever Nasrat was out. It was like very intense moment.
I can't imagine that would. You don't want that like on your conscience either, but I'm very, very happy to see Nasrat was moving. And I think I haven't heard anything that says he's not fine. So, yeah, let's everybody go check on Nasrat Hakparas, because that was a pretty scary knockout. I'm not going to lie. We'll do honorable mentions of the prelims. Not an honorable mention. Walter Walker, supposed to be on the card, was it last week? And obviously did what we all expected him to do. Like, we already talked about it. Give him Almeida. There's no notes. Beautiful shot, beautiful performance. Like, what do you even say to that? The heavyweight fight was bad. That was by far my biggest blunder on this card, is I actually thought that was going to be kind of fun. It was just pretty bad. Happy to see the judges taking quick points away for fouls early on the card. I love that. I think if you commit a foul, you lose a point, and that's how it goes. Regardless, doesn't matter if it was an accident or not. To be honest, I kind of thought that, I believe it was Jason Herzog too, who I usually 100% agree with, but I kind of thought he should have taken the point from Jose Delgado too. I think it's mostly because I just feel bad for Nathaniel Wood. Poor boy. Every time he goes to Abu Dhabi, he gets kicked in the nuts like every time.
No, and it did happen twice in that fight, correct? Yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, it was that one because earlier on in the night it was in Mitch Raposa versus Asmat. Asmat grabbed the cage terribly, reverse position, and they took a point for that. And then Chris Barnett and Hamdi took an elbow to the back of the head, took a point for that. I was like, oh, they're quick to take points. Then the next fight with Nathaniel Wood, like he got kicked in the nuts twice, and you guys didn't take a point. And there was like, like why are we taking points quick for these other ones, but not when it happens twice in a row?
I have the solution. You throw a foul, you lose a point, except for a cage grab. If your cage grab stops the takedown, you don't lose a point. You lose the position. Whoever lost the takedown because you grabbed the cage gets to pick half guard, side control, guard. That's the rule. That's how you fix all the problems.
The one with the Azat and Mitch Raposa was probably one of the worst cage grabs I've ever seen in MMA in general. It wasn't even he stopped the takedown. He was on his butt used it to reverse position, used it to get on top of Mitch. And I'm like I don't like that's not even like, oh, I'm accidentally falling and I grabbed it. Like that is the most egregious. No, I'm choosing to make this decision. And thankfully it was taken away from him. I think they should have given Mitch position after that. Still, they stood him back up. But regardless, I'm like, the point was needed.
No, I 100% agree. And I think it's hard to argue with egregious. And we've seen it before in for international cards. We've definitely seen home country fighters, or at least home region fighters, get away with some pretty bad fouls in the past. So I'm happy to see that being corrected now. It's been a problem too long. Like there were guys back in the day that would grab the fence every fight because they knew all they would get is a warning for the first one. And it's like, okay, this guy worked really hard to take me down, didn't get it, and now I can just go to work because I don't have to waste any energy getting back to my feet.
I feel like it's like a joke around a lot of people. They're like, oh, you get one free nut shot. You know, first one's a warning. You get one free nut shot. If you need a break at any point, you get one free nut shot.
It really is. It's a cheat code that shouldn't exist. Nasrat looks like Kelvin Gastelum that makes weight. Yeah, agreed. Like
Nasrat looks like Kelvin, and then Volkov looks like a giant Patty Pimblett.
I know. I saw this meme, and it was like the Pokemon evolving, and it was like Valentina, Shevchenko, Patty Pimblett, Volkov. I was like,
100%.
Kind of fits. It does. Somebody asked earlier for predictions for Weili and Valentina. I know we've kind of talked about it before, but I mean, throw yours out there.
I don't know. I'm just not excited about this fight either. I think that it's going to be, I think Valentina wins a boring decision. I think Valentina takes her down and holds her on top and doesn't really work much and just relies on that to be her decision win. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be an exciting fight. And I don't know. I'm not super excited for it.
I'm kind of with you. I think one of two things can happen. I think Valentina wins, and I'm not excited for it. Or Weili just out-athletes, looks superb, has put on some muscle, and it's an awesome fight. You know? Those are like the two outcomes I see.
I'm like, I don't know. I just don't see a way that Weili beats her because I feel like Weili's would be looking for the holes in the striking. I don't see Weili's grappling as being something significant to me. She makes a lot of mistakes on the ground, is what I'll say. She has good wrestling, but her jiu-jitsu isn't the best. So I'm like, I see that if Valentina is able to get the takedowns, that she should kind of just be able to hold her there. I don't see Weili being able to push Valentina on the feet, essentially. And I would love if Weili came back down because I'm like, that would be a great challenge. I'm like, there is so much in the strawweight division right now. There is so many challengers at the moment. Like, I don't think it makes a lot of sense in general for her to go up. I'm like, with this many challengers down here. So I'm like, come back down, Weili.
Love it. Love it. No, I'm kind of with you. Carla Esparza took Weili down. She has a great shot, but I definitely think Valentina with the size and her timing on her shots She doesn't fight as exciting as she used to, but she definitely still has great timing when she shoots. And so I definitely do expect if she gets on top, she'll be able to control Weili with her size and just experience.
Yeah, and I'm like, it's not like Valentina's like a great grappler either. So it's not like, oh, she's going to be looking for submissions or looking to strike or doing damage on the ground. I'm like, she's going to be just taking her down and just holding her there, and not much is going to happen. And I don't see it being a great fight. I don't see the point of the fight happening in the first place. I'm like, I think there's too much going on in each division for this fight to really make sense right now.
Dude, this was the golden era of strawweight. Like Weili and Joanna, those fights. Wow. Like Joanna and Rose.
I was like, you got to throw Rose in the mix there too. I feel like Weili, Joanna, and Rose, those three are like
Jessica Andrade at her peak. Like
it literally every other fight, the belt was switching hands, and it wasn't because the champion sucked. I feel like a lot of times it's like the champ sucks. All right, they're gonna lose the belt in one fight. I'm like, it was just so much competition in like the top 5 in the division at that time period that it was just it was switching every single fight.
Yeah, no, I love Joanna. She's awesome. I know she looks mean on TV, but she's so awesome. She's such a sweet person. And I like, let her retire in peace. Let her retire in peace. She's like managing all her Polish friends and getting degrees and going to Thailand. She's having a blast. I'm so happy for her. But yeah, no, that was what an era. And what a run she had as like the strawweight boogie woman. And then for Rose to come in with the huge upset, like, ugh, what an era. What an era.
100%. I'm like, I think it's hard to argue that JJ right now, it's hard to argue that JJ isn't the greatest strawweight champion of all time, like currently speaking. Yeah. I just want to answer this because I saw it come up twice.
I was going to click on that next.
Yeah, and honestly, when I saw this matchup, I was like, wow, they really want Angela Hill to retire.
Fatima's good, dude.
That's what I'm saying.
She's big. She's a big strawweight too.
I think they're trying to throw Fatima to Angela just to get Angie out of there. She's older. She just lost to Lucindo. She's not going to get a title shot at this point. So I'm like, they're ready for her to be done, and they want to feed her to Fatima, who's the up and comer, who's good on the feet, good on the ground. Needs a little work on the wrestling a little bit, but other than that, has a lot of finishing options. I don't see her not finishing Angela Hill. I think this is the UFC's ideal way to get Fatima up in the rankings and into the, like I said, we still have a lot of challengers in the 115 division. Fatima's coming up.
Yeah, no, there's some exciting action happening at 115. I know you said you weren't super impressed with her. I'm literally having a brain fart on her name right now. Black Brazilian girl.
Sayonara.
Yeah, I like her. She's a dog. She's fun.
If I ever have to fight her while she walks out, I don't know, man. That'll kill me. It'll absolutely kill me having to deal with her 10-minute walkout.
At least she'll walk out first, most likely. So you'll just be in the back.
Yeah, it'll be okay.
You don't have to stand in the cage and wait 10 minutes for her to walk down. Okay, we got next week. If we were hating on this pay-per-view, next week's fight night is rough, but next week's fight night has a killer main event. Steve Garcia and David Onama is going to be awesome. Like, the length and the boxing of Garcia. David is just this phenomenal athlete with crazy power. He's so fun to watch. It's impossible to keep his back. Like, this is going to be a banger. I'm pumped about this fight. The rest of the main card, like Isaac Dolgarian's back. He's super fun to watch. Really good wrestler fighting an undefeated guy. There's a few on the prelims.
Yeah, I'm looking at the card now, and I will say I was very, very, very much looking forward to this card when I just knew the main event.
Yeah.
The main event is honestly one of the fights I've been looking forward to for like months now at this point. I'm a huge fan of Steve Garcia and what he's been doing. Onama's been looking great. I think this is going to be an absolute like fire fight. And then the rest of the card isn't so great now that I'm looking at it. You know, a little let down. I don't really see any other names that I'm like, oh, that's one to watch.
It's probably the fight itself probably won't be amazing, but I am happy to see Norma Dumont back in action. I think 135 really needs some juice, and she was always like just somebody that, you know, we like you could be excited about. Like, she's solid everywhere. She's cute, she's marketable. I think she, you know, and she's decently fun to watch at 135, a division that lacks like a lot of exciting fights, you know? So, you know, I'm happy to see her back. I know she had a lot of fight cancellations that weren't necessarily her fault over the last couple of years. So, will the fight be a banger? Probably not. Will Ketlin Vieira miss weight? Probably. But yeah, at least she's back. At least she's back in the mix, right?
Yeah, I'm like, a lot of these fighters, I feel like I'm looking at the names. I'm like, oh, I've seen him look good before, but he's also like, there's a lot of unreliable people on this card. Some people who look good sometimes, but then I'm like, they have their nights, but then they also look terrible sometimes.
I'm pretty sure Cody Durden took like a week's notice fight too, as he does. I think he's fighting. Hang on, I just saw it because I actually am excited for this fight too. Yeah, he's fighting Alan Nascimento, who's a really fun flyweight. He's very good, and Cody is never boring.
I was gonna say there's never a boring Durden fight. Period.
So that, I mean, 130 catch weight, taking it right on short notice, and he's always in shape. Like, Cody can fight 3 rounds on 2 days' notice. So that'll be fun to start off the main card. That'll be a fun fight. But yeah, it's rough. It's a rough one.
Yeah, not looking good out there.
Who's on November 8th? It's not even listed on Google yet. Oh no, there it is. It just wasn't. No, the whole card is not up. I'll have to look on the UFC site. Yeah, that one's not looking fantastic either. Gabriel Bonfim and Randy Brown. That's an all right main event.
Just gotta wait till December. December 6th, December 13th.
Of course. But November 15th, the Madison Square Garden card is awesome. Like, all the welterweight contenders literally on one card. That's pretty. Roman Kopylov and Gregory Rodriguez. Qatar is a stacked card too, Glostrom. You are correct. It is. There's a lot of good fights there.
Sean Brady, Michael Morales.
Leon Edwards and Carlos Prates. I think Carlos is going to look really good there. Obviously, I can't wait to watch JDM and Islam fight. I like so many question marks surrounding that. Like, that's going to be awesome.
Another one, he's been making a little bit of waves lately too. I see on that card, Malcolm Wellmaker versus Cody Haddon.
Yes.
I'm like, that's a good fight.
And then Beneil Dariush is fighting BSD on that card too. That's a great fight.
Oh yeah, this whole card is stacked.
So we just gotta make it to November 15th, guys. All right, we went 1 hour, almost 15 minutes. I gotta let Gillian go. But do you have anything else for the people, G?
I guess nothing really. Just getting ready for December 13th, and then getting ready to take my belt after that. So.
Oh, I never did this. We have to do this. We have to do this really fast. So, the 2 hardest to pronounce city names that I've ever seen in UFC were the hometown of Mateusz Rąbecki and the hometown of Ikram Alaskarov. Fighting out of Szczecin, Poland. Give us your best attempt.
Szczecin.
Szczecin.
I'm just gonna say it confident.
And then my personal favorite, Ikram. That apparently at the top does say Ikram Alaskarov, but in Russian I wouldn't know. But he is from Makhatshakalaka, Russia.
Makhachkala.
Makhachkala. I want to say Chakalaka. All right. And on that note,
we've had enough today.
Fabulous Sunday. We love y'all. Tuesday, 1 to 3, maybe 2 to 3. We don't really know. I'm in fight camp. It's throwing everything crazy. So Dave and I will let you know. It might be, that's the capital of Dagestan. Makachakalaka is the capital of Dagestan. Anywho, yeah, we will let you know about Tuesday, but make sure you're free in the afternoon because we'll be around. We love you guys, and we'll see you later this week. Bye.